Howdy everyone, this is Tricia and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how I put together these Christmas angel standing ornaments. Once again, I decided to create some little angels and I really enjoy putting these together. If you want to see how I did that, keep on watching. So let's get to crafting. I'm going to be starting with this cardboard insert from your tissue paper. And I am going to cut this open. So that I have it open like that. And then I'll just take one of the corners and bring it in till this tip here is on here. So it's not like off of here like that, but on here, okay? And then the top, just get it as tight as you can. And we'll go ahead and put some glue right here. Hold that. And bring that over like so. Put some glue here. Grab that. You can trim that off. And then we'll add some glue along here. And just let that dry. And then we'll trim off the bottom. This is going to be the bottom, the larger hole. And you want it so that you can stand it. So if it feels or looks a little unlevel, trim a little bit at a time. Just so it's standing nice like that. Next I'm going to take some yarn, and I've got some nice red yarn. It's got a little bit of a glittery finish to it. I'm going to use this to wrap around the whole body of this little cone. So I'll just start at the top, and what would be the back? I'm going to consider this the back for now. Put some glue down. Put your yarn on there. And then we're going to start wrapping around. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the top here, on the top edge here. And start gluing that around. And we're just going to go all the way down. We're going to completely cover it with the yarn. So we want to make sure the yarn is butted up nicely, and so it doesn't move on you ever so often. Put a little dot of glue. There we go. Now don't tighten it too much that you end up squeezing your little cardboard, little cone shape here. Just gently wrap it around, but don't do it too loosely either. And we're just going to keep wrapping till I get to the bottom. All right, I'm already coming to the end here at my last turns. Just gonna add a little bit more glue here and there, and when I'm coming to the end, that's where I want to add glue. I'll be adding glue all the way around to make sure that yarn doesn't slide off. Okay, let's start right here because I'm getting close to the edge here. And if you seem to have like if you're already getting close to the end where you've reached the the very edge here, but you still got a little bit to go over here, I would go ahead and just cover as much as you can, and then what you can do is you can just trim off whatever is still poking through. Okay, so this looks like the end, so I'll go ahead and cut it right here. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue there to get that end of that yarn. And like I said, you could trim off anything popping up. Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and add one more line of yarn actually. And I'll start right here where it's showing a little too much. I can't cut too closely because I don't want to cut the yarn itself there. So just put that right there. Okay, so that's what we want. You can see I already did one over here. Okay, so then I'm going to take another roll and I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm just going to pop that open. Actually, I'm going to use the little piece that I have left over from the other half that I've already cut. Just pop that open. Try to flatten it as much as you can. Okay, so then we're going to put glue on the bottom here. And then we'll put that on here. We're going to let that dry, and then we're going to cut around along the edge here. But let me let that dry so that glue bits that are on the edge there won't get on my scissors. All right, so I'm glad I did that. I waited because now I can switch over to my actual craft scissors. All right, now I can go ahead and cut this, and I'll trim off any little glue puddles. All right, so we have that enclosed to the bottom. Now, you don't have to do this, but there's a reason for it, and that's because now I want to take a scrap piece of felt. That's enough to go around the bottom here. So I'm going to put glue all the way in the edges. Make sure I get it all over that little cardboard and across the bottom here. I want the whole thing to stick. We get that on there. And then we're going to trim that off, just like we did the cardboard. And that is going to give me a nice soft bottom so that, you know, wherever I place it, I'm going to make sure it's not going to scratch the surface. You know, the little cardboard edge might scratch the surface. And not only that, but it gives you a nice little finished edge. Look at that, the bottom edge, okay? And you can do that in the color of your yarn. I just happen to have some white, so I went ahead and I used that. Use some black, whatever you want to use. All right, I'm going to go ahead and trim this off, and we'll go to the next step. So for the next step, I'm going to take a chenille stem. This is a 12-inch. They're all basically 12-inch lengths. So I'm going to fold it so that I can then cut it in half. All right. Now, your chenille stem doesn't matter what color you use. We're going to cover this with yarn. The reason that I've chosen this is because it has a nice you know, kind of halo-ish look to it. So I can use this for the halo, or I can use something else, but if you want to think about that, you know, use a little chenille stem, the leftover piece for that. That way you don't have to waste it, and you don't have to worry about now looking for something to use for the halo. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cover this with yarn. I'm going to go ahead and get my little body here. These are going to be the little arms here. So that's a nice little length. We can always trim off a little bit if we need to, but for now we're going to go ahead and use the whole 6 inches. And what I'm going to do is just start it off with a strand going up and down like that, just like I did when I started the little cone. And then I'm going to put glue around the tip so that I can circle that, and then I'll just press it, pull it tight, and then start wrapping, and make sure that you get it also against, right up against the one previous that you wrapped around. Oh my goodness, so much noise in my neighborhood. Okay, so the other thing that I also want to do is, while I'm doing this, is I want to put plenty of glue as when I start, because I may end up trimming it, and that way it's already glued at whatever point I cut it. So I should have been adding glue as I was coming down, but I completely forgot about that. So you do that, and just do that for like maybe the first 1 inch and then the last 1 inch. In between, you can just add little dots of glue here and there just to make sure it doesn't move on you. All right, so I'm just going to keep, what I'm doing is I'm just twisting my little chenille stem and wrapping the yarn around it, and just little dots of glue here and there. Okay, so I'm going to continue wrapping this around, and I'll be back once I'm getting all at the end here. Okay, so I've already come to the end, and I've just hot glued that little tip down to make sure, you know, the little end was nice and glued down. So I have my little arm here all wrapped up. So we'll go to the next step. All right, so here I've got some red tulle. It's got a nice little glitter effect to it as well. It matches with the yarn really nicely. Now, it doesn't have to completely match it. It could be a totally different color if that's what you want to do. But I'm going to go with this red because it's very Christmassy and glittery. And I'm just going to take some like that. And what I want to do is I'm going to create a little skirt to go around my little angel. So I'm just going to fold it in half also. It helps me control it a little bit better. And I'm just going to kind of measure around so I can see more or less about so much. I'm going to go ahead and measure that so I can tell you what I've got here. And I've got almost 9 inches here, and this is a tulle that's 6 inches in width. All right, so now I'm just taking some thread and I'm putting it in a hand needle here. Gonna knot the end. Okay, so what I want to do, there is a right side to this because this is a little sequins and I can see the little sequins are glued to this side. So I'm going to pick that as my right side. So I'm going to fold it with the right sides together. Now if you don't have that, you don't have to worry about it because the tulle is the same on both sides. Alright, so now that I've folded in half, I'm going to sew up and down. And before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and put my thread through where my little knot is, just to make an extra knot there, because otherwise the little knot will go right through the little holes of the tulle. Okay, I'm just going to sew up and down a running stitch to close these ends. Oops, there we go. Just spread it out. I can see that my thread came unknotted, but at least this got locked in place. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and make a little knot over here. All right, and we can trim that off. I'll put my thread aside because I am still going to use it. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and just take, as if we were going to turn it inside out, but we're just going to go halfway. See me a little tube here that's been folded in half. Okay, so for the next thing I want to do is I want to grab some beads, or you can grab some sequins, whatever you happen to have that's sparkly and small. We're going to insert between the 2 layers where it's still open like that. We want to insert inside of here. That's when we have that nice fold in the bottom that'll catch any beads. And I'm just going to grab some little seed beads. And I've got them in red here. And I think I'll grab just a few bigger red beads, throw them in there. We don't have to put too many. Okay, so I'm now going to get some, oh, and then you want to make sure the seed beads aren't too small because they'll go right through the little holes in the tulle. Okay, I'm going to grab some white as well. You could do silver or gold. That would be pretty. Let's see. Make sure that it falls between those 2 layers. And I'm grabbing some big seed beads here. And then I'm going to grab some of these kind of crystal-y ones that are a little bit bigger. This is going to get dispersed all the way around. But you can do that once you've got all this put together. But for now, I just want to drop some little beads or sequins. Let me drop a few more of these crystal-y ones in there. Okay. Okay, so I want to make sure I got my 2 seams together here. And I'm going to pin just to make sure nothing moves on me. Alright, so now that I've pinned it, I've got all my little edges nice and aligned here. I'll go ahead and grab my needle and thread. Once again, I'll pull that through and then pull it through the knot like that. And then we're going to do another running stitch all along the edge here. Get as close to the edge as you can, but make sure you're grabbing both edges here. We're going to gather that up. Now I'm making sure that I leave the pin there until I've gone past it, and then I can go ahead and remove it. All right, we're coming to the end here. We're not going to pull it tight yet. We're just going to get it to the end here. And then we'll take our little cone, little angel body. And we're going to get that seam. I feel like this is my back. It all looks the same all the way around, but you can just choose whatever side you feel is the front and which is the back. And that seam that you sewed up, lead it towards the back and bring it down so that it's at the bottom here. And move the beads around. How cute. Look at that. Now we want to make sure this is not hanging, further, longer than our little cone. We want to make sure it's just right as close to the edge as we can get it. I'm going to go ahead and start pulling on my thread to gather up the fabric, the tulle. Look at how cute that looks with all these little beads in there. And that also kind of weighs it down and it'll keep it standing. Okay, so I know that I need to pull it up just a tiny bit. Tighten it again. And then just kind of disperse your gathering. Make sure it's gathered, as evenly as you can get it. It's a little hard to tell because the tulle is so thin and it kind of blends in with the yarn and it's hard to see things. So just try to get it as pretty as you can. And now we're going to go ahead and knot this, but we're going to grab the yarn when we sew this. Just grab it. And you can go all the way around and grab it so that it doesn't slide off. Or you could put a little bit of hot glue, but I'm just going to go ahead and use the thread here and make sure you grab the yarn to get all the way around to the back. And then just make a knot and trim off the thread. All right, that's it. And there we go. Cute. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to put a little head on her, and you can see I've done it already to one of them, and I've just painted a little face on there. So the easiest way for me to do that, and maybe you want to do it after you've put the face on there, but I'm going to go ahead and just draw it and do that now. And I'm just going to do a little smile, just like that. 2 closed eyes, some little lashes on them. And I'm just using an extra, or is this an ultra fine point Sharpie? Be careful because it does bleed a little bit. All right, so then I'm going to take that, the other 6 inches of my chenille stem. Like I said, you could use that if you're using something like what I'm using, you can use it for the halo or find something else to use for the halo. But I'm going to take half of that because even the other piece that I have left over will be good for a halo. So I've already cut one of them and I've used it in here. So I'm just going to fold that in half. And then I'll take these 2 ends with some glue all the way around. Put plenty of it in there. Slide it into the little hole at the bottom of the head. And these are little wooden beads that have holes on them. I do like it to have little holes so that I can go ahead and do this because this will give me something to, I can glue something in there so it'll give me somewhere to hold this on. Or if I was going to make this a hanging ornament, I can slide some yarn in there or something also. Okay, so this bead is about 7/8 inch to 1 inch in diameter. So just in case you're curious, the packaging didn't tell me, but I sort of kind of measured it. That's basically the measurement I got. Okay, so now at the top here, you can see you have a little hole there. So we can drop some glue on there. Drop some glue on your little angel. Now I'm going to make sure this is my back. That's the seam that I sewed. I want that in the back. And then slide that right in there. And if you need to add some more glue on the edge, do so, which is what I'm going to do. There we go. All right. And that's what she's looking like so far. All right, so then we want to put the little arms and then just kind of guesstimate where they should go. I think that's a good position. So I'll put some glue back here. Glue that on. See, I went down a little bit. You want to make sure you also get them at an even length, and I did not do that. So let's make sure they're at an even length before this glue starts to dry. Okay, there we go. And if I have to trim anything off, I will. The arms are too long. I think they look fine just like that. Okay, I'll do the other one. All right, so now I want to decorate with a different yarn. This is a chenille type of yarn. It's not too thick. I could use the same type of yarn like this if I want to use a contrasting color, or you just use the same red. It doesn't matter. But since I had this, I'm going to go ahead and use that. So I'm going to start with some glue. And I'm going to wrap some of this around the neck. I think that's cute, just a couple of times. Trim that off, add some glue. Finish that off like that. Cute. Okay, now I want to put her arms up and out of the way because I want to put it around the waist, and so that I can hide the edge here of this tulle. Again, you could do that with the same red yarn. It doesn't have to be with this contrasting yarn like I'm using. Oh, where's the end? Okay. Meet up there. All right, and now I'm just going to wrap and make sure that I get all that, the edges. I'm going to add glue as I go along to make sure that I capture those edges. Also, adding the glue also helps to push down the tulle raw edge. Look at that. And I'll do a couple more times just to make sure I get a good coverage. I think that's good. All right. And then I'll glue that end down. Okay, and I want to do the same thing with the other one. All right, so now I want to do some hair for my angel, and I have some brown yarn. Of course, use whatever color you want. But I wanted to make sure that I also grabbed a yarn that wasn't so thick, and you could also use like a crochet thread for this, or even embroidery thread. And then you can just decide how long or how much you want hanging off of your little angel. You could cut out a little piece of cardboard that is, you know, half the, you know, you can, because you're going to roll it around, so whatever length is like that, that's what you want to go around the head of your little angel. For example, this is 4 inches, so altogether I'm going to have 8-inch length of string. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. This is just one of these little sample tiles from the Home Depot, and this is working out really good for me to use for this. So I'm using this piece here, but you could just cut out a piece of cardboard. Okay, and I think I wrapped it around 25 times the first time I did this, so I'm going to do that. 3, 4. Okay, I've got 10. You can just also make sure that you don't pull them too tight. Okay, so let's go ahead and loosen that up. 11, 25. Okay. And then I'm going to cut a nice long piece and then an extra one. I'll put that aside. Okay, so both of my ends are here at the bottom. So I started with an end that way, so I want to make sure I end with the end also downward. So up here where it's all folds, I'll slide this piece of yarn that I cut out. And I want to tie it around all these strands, but I don't want to pull it like tight. I'll do once. I could knot, and the knot will be tight. Okay, so then I can go ahead and cut at the bottom here, and I'm not going to worry that one side is longer because I'm going to end up trimming all that. Okay, so pull it off, grab them, and here's where you knotted it, and you want it to have, you know, a little bit of width like that. So that's what I'm saying. Don't tie it where it all comes together like in a squeezed up little bunch. We wanted something like that. Okay, so to make sure that these little pieces don't move too much, we're going to go ahead and put some glue right in there. Okay, and now we'll take our little angel, and at the top of her head we're going to add some glue here, go across to the back, and then we'll put this little hair piece that we've made. Make sure you get that glued down, and then that little line is going down the center. Put it where you want it to be at her forehead in the front first, and then you can just push it down. We'll turn her around in the back of her head, add some glue like that, and then we'll bring these strands, flatten them up against that half of that glue, and then the other part over here, push them together so we don't see the little wooden ball through there. All her hair is covering that, or her, you know, the yarn is covering that. Okay, so now you can do whatever you want. You can style her hair however you want. I've got an extra piece here because I want to do a little ponytail. I'm going to use this for tying that up. I'm just removing some little glue bits. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little bit of a twist here. I'm going to grab a few strands here in the front and then just twist it a little bit like that. And then put some glue along the side, kind of going towards the back. And then just kind of glue that down. All right, hold it there. And then I'll do the same on the other side. I'll grab a few strands. Let's push all this back here, and then I'll also twist them just a few times. It'll come unraveled a little bit, and that's okay. Put some glue there, press down, and then just bring it back, and then just decide where you want to tie it, or that little extra string. Tie it, and then just make sure the hair is all nice and straight. Now that one you'll pull it tight and knot it. And then you can trim off, you know, cut it all even, because you can see here it's not even at all. It's all cut at different lengths here. So I'll just trim it. Okay. There's a little ponytail in the back. That looks cute. All right, so now I want to make the wings, and there's several things that I can use. I can use some ribbon, and I'll just show you real quick. I'll fold this to about the half point of what I want the wings to be. I'll cut this like that. And this is, just for reference, it's about 6 inches long, okay? So I would take that, fold it in half. This is a wire-edged ribbon. And then I'm going to do like a little bit of a rounded bit here. Open it up just to make sure that it is rounded, not pointy. If it's too pointy, just round it off a little bit. And then you take this and gather it like that. And you could get some thread and wrap it around, or you could use a little piece of chenille, a little piece of wire, and that would make some cute little wings on the back of your angel. This is how it would look. Pretty cute. And then you could just Spread them out. All right, so instead of using ribbon, you could also use some white tulle. You could also use the same red tulle, like what I happen to use for the skirt. You can use that as well. Again, just grab some and I don't know, cut about 6 inches or so. You could also take that, and I would take it like this because I know that this is 6 inches. And then just gather it down the center. You would do the same thing. A needle with some thread, wrap it around, knot it up, and of course, you know, do a better job at fixing this than what I did. Or you can use a piece of wire, chenille stem, whatever you need to do. That would make some wings as well. Of course, we would lift up her hair and put it underneath. And this would be the wings. You can't really see them, but they're there. I have a different type of netting, different fabric. It's like a stiffer mesh fabric. This would look really nice as well for the wings. I would do the same as I did the tulle. You would just take this and then just gather it down the middle, right? And you would have some wings. I'm not going to cut this because I don't want to waste it, but there. That's what gives you an idea of how the wings would look. Now it would look a little bit better. But this is a hard one to find, this type of stiffer mesh. But that gives you an idea. Okay, what I want to do instead is I have this package of these vine hearts. They're small little hearts. They're from Hobby Lobby, from their waiting aisle. His and hers right here. That's the brand. Let's pull those out. Look how they are. They're cute little hearts. And I want to use these as my wings, only because I want to give my little angels a more rustic look to them. So I'm going to take 2 for each one. Of course, it's going to use up a lot, but I want to use that. Okay, now these two, again, you could get some wire thread or some chenille stem and wrap around to get them together like that. I'm going to match the two that are more like each other. These two are more like each other. Yeah, okay, these two. Or you could just take your little angel, pop her hair upward, put some glue in the back, put one of the vine hearts, and then the other one. You're just going to have to hold these because they do have some weight to them. And I'm going to add some more glue on top just to lock them in. And then what I could do is just bring her hair down on top like that. Look. Look how cute that is. All right, let's do the other one. I'm going to make sure this dries first, and then I'll do the other one. All right, so to do my halo, I have the little 3-inch piece of chenille stem that I could use for that. So I'm just going to take it and grab the 2 ends together and twist them. Just a little tiny twist there. And I can just use some glue that'll hold them together later. So just make a little halo, a little ring like that. Use your finger if you need to make it round. So we have that little halo, which can then be glued at the top of her head here, like so. But I did have some items here. Let me show you. From the same collection as the wings, which I can see one kind of flopping off. The same brand, I grabbed these little wooden hearts. I think that would make a cute little halo. So I think I'll use that. I've got also from the Christmas section at Hobby Lobby, I grabbed this like wreath, they're little leaves. It's on a wire. You can spread it out and make a garland or whatever you want out of them. But I can use some of this also to do a halo around her head. I've got some little mini pine cones. And then I grabbed this from the Dollar Tree. They have these little pom-poms. I thought they were really cute. I grabbed this. I'm going to use these as well. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. Okay, so after some thought, I decided that I am going to use the chenille stem as a halo. So here's what that little halo on top of her head looks like. Put it at a little bit of an angle there. And then I created this little wreath here. And I used the little pom-poms on that trim that I showed you as sort of like little white mittens on her hands. And then the little wreath here is just hanging off of her little arm. So I'll show you how I put that together. Of course, you can do whatever you want to finish off her little decoration here on her hands if you want to do that. If you actually want to put something there. Okay, so here she is. And I am going to glue the little halo right where I put the wires together, the ends together. Put a little bit of glue there. And then I'm going to kind of stand it up on her head a little bit. Glue at the back. You could put it flat if you prefer that. It's okay. You can do flat like this. Looks super cute as well. Okay, just like that. Okay. All right, so now for her wreath, I'm going to take some of this. And by the way, this came like in 3 little wreaths like that. And they just have a little bit of wire, one here, one here. And then I just took that off to unravel it. So this makes a nice little piece of garland here. Okay, so I'm just going to take a piece like that and decide how big I want it. And then just cut a little bit bigger so you have a little end there to twist. It's got wire in there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove one of the little leaves that are wrapping here. Let me use these scissors. They're better for fabric. Okay, so then I'm just going to glue down right there so that doesn't come undone. And I'll take that wire here, bring the ends together, and use that to wrap across to the other side so that I can create a little wreath. Just like that. Okay. Okay, so now we just embellish it. And because I wanted to use that little heart, I'll go ahead and glue it on. You can glue it on however you want, or if you want to string it in there first, you know, put the garland through there and then wire it up. It could be hanging off of there. I tried that. I like it better glued up on the top. So I'm just going to put a little glue on one corner of the little heart here. Just glue it down like that. There we go. And then I took these here and I took off the little berry, little red bits. And then I took off a little pine cone. Just cut it off. I have these other ones, but they're a little bit big. So I decided to go with a little smaller sized one. And then just decorate. Just put it wherever I want. And I decided that I want it on the bottom part of the heart. I'm going to add some more glue down here to hold on that little heart over here as well. Okay. That's what I've got so far. And then I'll just glue these little berry bits. Just going to trim off a little bit. On these little berry bits, they're coated with, I don't know, it seems like plaster almost, and then painted red. So you don't want to cut too far into it because you'll break the whole thing. So just, I was just trimming the little wire that was sticking out. And then just place them wherever you want. If you're going to use what I'm using. Of course, use whatever you want. You could just make a little red bow if you want, hang it off of her hands. A little piece of paper, fold it in half. Glue it on so it looks like she's singing off of some music. Okay, see, I just did that. Very simple. Okay, so then I'm just going to thread this wreath through her arm here. Put her hands together like so. And then I'm going to cut a bit of trim so I can get 2 pom-poms. Like that. 1, 2. Okay, so the little hands are together. Put some glue. And then put the little pom-poms there. And then just kind of push them into each other. And there's a little wreath. If you don't want the little wreath to move around, add a little bit of glue there. And then put it on there. And there you go. And then I'm going to spread out the little beads again just to kind of even out how they're in there. So it has a even weight. there we go. And look, I've made two, as you saw. All right, everyone, so I have completed my Christmas angel standing ornaments. And look at the little beads on the bottom. That's so nice and sparkly with this glittery tulle. I had a lot of fun putting them together. I think they look super pretty, and I think I'm going to give them as little gifts. All right, everyone, I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up, and I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up and let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. And if you're enjoying my content, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe if you haven't already done so. And of course, choose all in your notifications so that you get notified as soon as I upload a video. I want to thank everyone for watching my videos and supporting my channel. And as always, enjoy.